Good evening, everyone. Today is September 23rd, 2025. We are here as OCPC team is presenting Route 104 corridor study that we have been contracted with MassDOT under UPWP program. So thank you for understanding for tonight's change on the Zoom link. Looks like we have a good number of participants online, and also we have a few in-person participant as well. Thank you all for coming. It's valuable nights, and thank you for your time for making it here. Okay, so before we start the meeting, we really want to acknowledge the great collaboration between the community, the town of Bridgewater, and MassDOT. So if I may, would like to introduce Shane to give us a brief overview of the project importance for the community. Thank you.
Hey everyone, if you don't know me, I'm Shane O'Brien, town planner. I don't appear at a lot of town council meetings, so it's not a big deal, but you see me every other Wednesday at a planning board meeting. So I just want to say welcome to those here, welcome to those on Zoom. I should probably be in the camera so people can see me. Hey. So I just want to kind of briefly touch up on, we're doing a Route 104 corridor study with Old Colony Planning Council. They're based out of Brockton, and they're our regional planning agency. You may be familiar with them if you participated in the Route 18 corridor study that was done in 2023. We had a public meeting, I think, via Zoom for that meeting. And those studies are also online. So we're kind of cutting it from west to east right now instead of north and south, checking out Route 104. You know, you talk to most people in town, it's the most heavily trafficked area, is the area that people have most complaints about. So we appreciate OCPC's efforts and ability to kind of analyze some of the traffic data that they can give us and provide to us that we wouldn't be able to necessarily do on our own in terms of traffic studies and volume, and kind of give us some guidance for recommendations to take these findings and look at improvements that may be worthwhile to express. So, in the past, we've utilized grant funding through MassWorks projects that kind of came about, and I think this is briefly touched upon some of the work that was done at Route 104 and Elm Street. Some of the improvements there came through state and federal funding. So we kind of want to look at other improvements throughout 104. There has been presentations as recently as earlier this year and late last year, looking at Central Square in terms of traffic improvements, pedestrian improvements. So we're just going to kind of gather this information, take what OCPC says, as well as provide some analysis. We'll allow for a Q&A as well, online as well as in person, to allow for some things that we may be looking for. From a technical perspective, we kind of view things from, numbers, and there may be some people here that may have some inquiries who live on the Route 104 corridor, and our residents that may give us some information that we are missing. So that would be definitely very beneficial for us, and we appreciate your time here. And I guess we'll go back to OCPC.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you so much for your great overview. So next, may I have Suren? He's with MassDOT and representing District 5.
Hi, my name is Suren Prajuli, District 5, Master District 5. Yeah, it's thank you for the Old Colony Planning Council for your dedicated work on this corridor story. I mean, it's a great story, and then Master definitely values your partnership with Old Colony, and we look forward to reviewing the final report. We look forward to continuing collaborating with your region to advance future project identified through this story. Yeah, thank you, OCPC. Yeah, good job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, we truly value the partnership. A lot of people working hard on this project, starting from data collection, analysis, a lot of technology, data being processed, and we have done a good job. But this is just a start. in order for a project to be implemented, it's a process. I hope everybody understand this. And the meeting presented tonight, it's more than analysis, but it's less than an implementation plan. So we are here, for us, it's a process to understanding the corridor, what things we can do based on the fact, based on the data. So, so I saw people virtually. If you want to introduce yourself, I certainly want to award the opportunity so you can raise your hand and then speak your name and anything that you want to share with the group before the meeting. So I don't see anybody.
Well, I guess I can acknowledge some familiar faces in town. We do have on in the participant room, we do have Counselor Paul Murphy here, as well as Town Manager Justin Casanova Davis. So welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for
But we do have a Julia Blanchard with her hand raised.
Yes, I just want to say that I can barely hear you guys on Zoom. Some of you are louder than others, but the chamber room is very, very difficult. I have my volume turned up to 100%. So if you could please speak up, that would be great.
Thank you.
Must be my fault. I will try to be really, really loud. So let's get started. So Route 104 corridor study. So tonight we're going to cover a couple of things, right? So what's our process? What's method we're using? And most importantly is the findings and improvement strategies, concept, and alternatives. So let's all get into it. So the virtual meeting will be about 1 hour, including the 30 minutes Q&A. Then we will have a breakout session. We have a few maps here that everybody is welcome to talk to us either virtually or in personally. Okay, so very briefly, the corridor is about 8 miles. It's entirety of Route 104 within the town of Bridgewater. So most of the traffic signal here, we're talking about 3 traffic signal. They are owned by the state MassDOT, and the rest of the 7, they are locally owned and maintained signal. So majority of the roadway are maintained and owned by the town. It is an urban minor arterial road. The traffic speed, the expected travel speed, it's higher on the west portion of the study area. It's very quick, overview what we did. So we have done a thorough, in-depth corridor analysis, including the image taking, drone fly, dash cam recording. So we have a lot of record, not only the existing condition, but also those problematic areas. We use traffic engineering tools such as Synchro, SynTraffic, travel demand model in order to give a fair assessment for the roadways, including intersection and the thoroughfare, meaning we're using the percentage of the speed, 85% speed, volume, and the classification means like how heavy the heavy vehicles are using the roadway. And we also consider the future developments. What are those additional trips added to our roadways? We use a 1% background increase rate, meaning so for every year, it's approximately 1% of traffic increase of the roadway. So we can be better to plan for the future infrastructure in terms of the capacity. Okay. We also use GIS maps, so we have a thorough understanding of the existing conditions. So the second slide on this is basically telling us this is not a one-person study. It's actually a collaboration from multi-level of agencies, including the transit, MassDOT, federal, FTA, FHWA, and we have present this project a few times on the JTC committee and MPO committee as well. We do have a project website. If you have not visited, it's online. So we have saved all the previous presentation slide and all those important data, such as intersection of Elm Street and Old Pleasant Street at Route 104 corridor. So all those data are online. So this meeting is not trying to cover every detail, but we're going to a very high level overview, but we point out all those key issues. So we have done the road user survey. We are very lucky. We are very fortunate to have over 200 responses. Our team, the Mighty team, we actually went out to the business door by door and asked their opinion, gave them the survey questions. Like I said, this is a great turnout by compared with other previous studies. So we are very happy with the result. So this is the meeting that at the final stage for this study. So everything that we have here from this time, we're going to have to prepare the draft report with all the findings, all the recommendations. So you guys are important part of this study, and we appreciate it. So just a quick overview about Route 104. You live, drive, you shop along corridor, right? This is what we have based on the data. So it really cover a very diversified characteristic for this roadway. So the volume has a wide range from little less than 5,000 to almost 23,000 vehicles. So we have basically we have a 2-lane road to carry this capacity, except the portion on the west side of our study area. So the speed, also the same thing. You have a lower speed, in the more dense area, 25 mile per hour, range to almost 50 mile per hour. So we are dealing with a very complex situation here. It's like, how do we build a system that we can accommodate different needs of transportation? So like I said, this is a very heavily traveled by the larger vehicles. So at some point, the heavy vehicle almost 20% here. And pedestrians, okay, we're talking about what's the best way to solve the congestion problems? Are we going to build more highways, or we are going to have more multimodal planning ahead of us? So based on our data, the pedestrian count is really high at least 2 locations, Howell Street and School Street. As you know, this is close to the BSU University campus. So, and on the photo here, we were just randomly taking a picture. We saw a bicyclist actually going eastbound, when the bike lane already not provided from that point on. And you can see the truck. So this is just a random picture. So I think this really tells a good story here. We are dealing with a very complex traffic condition. Okay. So like I said, we did a very good survey. So this is just a very quick, what's the result? That's the answer from the travelers. So this is a vehicle dominant corridor. Over 90%, 97%, it's auto dependent, right? So we also asked another further question. So if you don't drive, what would you do? We still see, it's just skewed to vehicle use. So very few use, by walk, by foot, and bicyclists. So, but you'll be surprised when I show the next couple slides. Actually, a lot of travelers, they prefer use bike or walk. Okay, next. So the reason why we conduct a question like asking when are those congestion hours, so we can be better focusing on those worst hours. So it looks like the PM peak hour, which is the PM commute time, actually causes most of the congestion issues. And more than half, it's actually in the morning, some are in the midday. We can imagine, there are a couple commercial area along the corridor. I think that's kind of drive the number up, because weekends people shop, other recreational purposes trips. Okay. So I think this is really important question that we have asked the traveler. So what do you think the most dangerous location, most congested locations? Looks like Elm is one of the top of the list. So I have a pleasure talking with the Thomas. We talk about the Elm Street. I explained that the Old Pleasant Street, the whole entire corridor south of Route 104 is not our study area, but we try to accommodate that observation. We have all the turning movement count at Elm Street. In the result, we have the totally 4 hours of turning movement condition, like a level of service, what's the delay like at the Elm Street. So, and by the way, all this information will be posted on our website, so you don't have to try to memorize all of them.
Yeah, I can answer that question on behalf of the town. So the traffic and the turning radiuses had been considered as part of the fire station design, as well as the site plan review, as well as there is the in a couple weeks, or actually a couple months, we'll be having the safety signals placed over there too. But that was part of the consideration. We talked to the chief, and he gave us the largest and widest and vehicle and how they can make those turns. So there shouldn't be an issue in terms of turning of largest apparatuses out in a approximately 30 minutes, 4 times a day, AM and PM. Traffic backs up from Elm Street to traffic light at Cumbies. And I saw an accident there the other day. Okay. It was just a car trying to get out of the street. No, we acknowledge that, and that's why there's going to be safety lights and safety signals located there. Sure. But if we listen, we're going to just listen to the rest of the meeting, and then we can provide that information as we come. All right, we can continue.
Yep. Hi, Sean, I saw your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm not sure who Shane was just talking to, but if anybody who is in person is speaking, if you could just hand them the mic so that people online could hear. I could vaguely hear whoever
Sure.
Shane was talking
I
to.
think we should approach the Q&A towards the end of the meeting, and then we just kind of go through the presentation at this time.
Sounds good.
That's good. Okay, so the next question we ask is about the safety, right? Where are those locations you feel it's unsafe, right? So South Street at Pleasant Street, actually at the top of the list, and followed by the Old Pleasant, which is Elm Street intersection. Vernon, actually, it's one of the intersection we found in this during the study is the traffic backup starting from Vernon Street at the AM and peak hours. And Main Street at Summer Street in Central Square area. That's probably a problematic area for a long time. So, like I said, you can go over this list in your time. So this is a general question, like, do you have to find another route to avoid congestion? Looks like more than half, almost 60% people are actually looking for alternate route. So this question has been asked to just say, what do you want to see in the future, right? I think the traffic delay, it's kind of dominant, the reason for improvements. And more sidewalks. People want to see more sidewalks so they can walk recreational purpose or for other purposes. More sidewalks, right? And crosswalk. And we did not find a lot of safe crosswalk throughout the corridor. And rapid flashing beacon or hawk signals were not used frequently along the corridor. I think that's a really good future consideration for improving, pedestrian crossing, also prioritize where those locations are. Okay, when we ask a question about bicycling, so what kind of facilities you want to see? Majority people over 80, so I think that's a composite number, at least more than half of the respondent saying we love off-site bicycle, wider sidewalks, like a multi-use path. You can have kids riding a bike and you can have a jogger runner at the same time. So in order to have a multi-use path, is 10 feet wide. So we are not talking about whether it could be designed or feasible. We are just gathering the information. What do you think for the future? What do you like to see? So we use INRIX data that MassDOT have offered us to use. So this is a really good tool to help us to determine if there's a recurring traffic congestion along the corridor. So if you look at the map on the screen, this is what typically like if there's no congestions along the corridor. So you can see a traffic slowdown. That's kind of normal. It's going through Central Square from South Street intersection all the way to Hayward Street. So when we show the AM peak hour, so in the morning rush hour, right, you can see a big red segment on the west side, as well as east from Birch Street all the way to South Street. So that's we call the recurring traffic congestion. That is correctable or could be a mitigate. Those area has potential to be improved. Okay. So this oh sorry. So I just want to show the PM peak hour. So it start 4:30, but based on our data, the PM peak hour could have already start at 4 o'clock. So this is just an image to show us how bad the traffic could be. If you can see from the map, I know some of you are from that area, all the way from Vernon Street to the west. It's a gridlock in the PM peak hour. Okay. So we use a computer program to assess the intersection. So we have done over 20 different intersections. Hey, computer, can you tell us how much delay for average traveler has to experience at those intersections, right? We have, couple problematic intersection that's currently operate under the capacity, such as the northbound ramp at Route 24 on the east side, from that intersection to Elm Street, they are operating under capacity in the PM peak hour. A lot of people experience that, and we have all those data to support. There's one thing that we found through our study is the bottleneck actually started from Elm Street, and I'm really happy to hear a participant come in tonight and talk to me, because there's a lane drop. So meaning it's from 2 lane and come down to 1 lane. That actually true from our observation, because the traffic, it's a flux into eastbound, and then all of a sudden they have to merge to 1 lane. That actually aggravate with the intersection already operating a lower capacity. So there's ways to fix that, including optimization and adding lane capacity. We are going to have that discussed again in the future slides. So on the table, we also list the couple other intersection having capacity issue, including the Prospect Street, also named Jasmine Way, the few gas station, car wash, and that intersection we also identify one of the location that need capacity improvements. So I'm going to move on to next one. Okay. So this is really busy table. What it does, it's list more than 26, I think 26 location that have higher collisions. So the top of the list is a Main Street in Central Square, followed by the Home Depot intersection. Even though Home Depot entrance is on the west side of our study area, even though it doesn't show a capacity issue, but because of the traffic slowdown and the complexity of the turning movement, it generate more traffic collisions at that location. So all this collision data is based on our best data for 5 years data between 2021 to 2024, a full year summary. For the future, if this location any location being selected, we're going to do more detailed road safety audit. If you know, this is more involving a very specialized multidisciplinary group that focus on the crash analysis and then finding the improvement alternative. But this table really tells a story what are those location, are the concentration for the collisions happen. So we also listed the manner of the collision, the severity, like injury or property damage only, as well as we have a trend analysis for different years trend analysis, like how many collisions occur in a single year. So we use the GIS map to just map out not only at the intersection, we also map out what are those collisions happening within 500 feet, because 500 kind of magic number, because that's like the functional area for an intersection. So any access related, speeding issues entering the intersection, so we can account for those locations. So we have actually multiple hotspot for collisions, from the west of our study area, Home Depot, all the way to Vernon. We don't want to see those yellow centered. It's indication of high frequency of collisions. Okay. So this is another portion that has really high collision frequency. One is at the Central Square area. Another one is a Hayward Street, which is, I think, one of the sports facility, the entrance to the sport facility. Just none of our intersection or area has been listed on the state 200 cluster location, which is a good thing. However, though we trying to take the holistic method, trying to prevent all those crashes. This is the purpose for this meeting. We try to find the solutions, how we can better manage our roadways, how to do better to prevent collision happens. Right. As I already mentioned about the system, right? This is a couple things we could consider. It's a very general items, including the roadway maintenance, right? If the pavement is not in good condition, people might stray away from the damaged area. It is a transportation safety issue. So we have we like to propose any roadway maintenance, including the driving lane, sidewalks, resurfacing, might be coming up. So secondly, we do want to see the a continuous safe bicycle and pedestrian network. So make sure they are connected, make sure people can cross the street safely, and they need to be ADA compliance. So we have observed a few locations that are the tactile advanced panel for for handicaps, right? They are damaged. It's needing replacement, reconstruct of those locations. Intersection and segment safety capacity, I think I mentioned that quite a few times, like at the intersection level, how do we improve the capacity? When people get impatient, they try to do, decisions, right? And just cause collision happen. So in terms of a cross-section layout, it's a term that's saying, so if you imagine you just have a cut section to the roadway, so what do you present on the sidewalk? The width, the dimensions of your driving lanes. So we talk about slowing down the traffic, right? So if we purposely narrowing the lane, drivers tend to drive slowly. So that's what we call the cross-section layout. So we will propose ways that we can improve the speeding. So Route 104 it's planned and constructed for automobiles, right? What about the smaller scale, like a person walking? Do they feel safe when they are so close to the roadway? So those are the traffic calming strategies that we could pose for this corridor, slowing down the traffic. So you design it right to make bike and ped safer as well as the vehicles. So we also propose evaluation for any opportunity for heavy vehicle exclusion, so they don't have to go through the major business, right, for the residential area. Right. Access management is like a huge term for a lot of things like central media and what do we place to separate the vehicles from different direction, right? What about the driveway? A number of the driveway, the spacing of driveway, they are all considered important for corridor improvement. So if you have too many driveways, you have vehicle making left turns, many conflicts. The intersection is too close, the signal, you have unmanaged lane, it just introduce collisions. So in the report, we find out those locations that we think is worse to make recommendations. This is what we need to make it safer. So we have a culvert assessment team here. We also look at the culvert conditions. We found a couple location that culvert repair. So not only above the ground, we also look at the subsurfaces, what the things we need to do to make the infrastructure more efficient, like stormwater management. Some of the location might need a catch basin, so that helps not only safety but also the aging of the roadways and preserve the roadways. We also found out quite a few of single vehicle collision, especially on the west side, a lot of wood area. So this is something we'd like to recommend. We continue to protect the wooded area, but also we need to find out a way to reduce the collision with the deer, for example, reduce the severity and the frequency. Traffic calming, I already mentioned that I cannot wait to jump on that topic. This is really a good system methodology to improve the safety. We look into the specific sites. If it does pose a traffic issue because of the access, we want to see the difference. But it really takes collaboration with the business owner, the town. It's a process, but we would like to include that in our study. Okay, so now this is gonna be fun parts. So we have about 11 locations that we chose to discuss in this meeting. So the first one, starting from the west of study area, is Lakeside Drive. The Fruit Street, as you can see from the screen, it's across the street. That's one of the MassDOT maintenance building. So as we go out there, this location does not seem to be safe, and the number also tell the same story. The driveway width is way too wide, and some of the vegetation block the side distance. The sidewalk is under poor condition. It probably need to reconstruct at some point. So this intersection is controlled by a stop sign, but the stop sign is very far away from where the traffic can stop. I know a couple residents from this area contact me. We really appreciate their time. We want to show this to you, and we did include this location for our study, for Route 104 corridor study. So we have, I forgot to mention, we have a list of all the proposed consideration in our final draft report. So I'm just pointing out the key points, so save everybody's time. Okay. So next intersection is the northbound ramp at Route 24. So like I said, this location experienced capacity issues in the PM peak hour, right? The traffic slowed down, right? Stuff from this location. And over the bridge, we see lane job as well. So going westbound from 2 lane to 1 lane, while we are in conversation with experts from MassDOT, whether this location will be feasible to just open up one more lane so people does not have to fight to entering 1 lane before going southbound onto Route 24. So like I said, our finding, our field observation, very consistent with the numbers we're showing here. So it is really high in terms of the survey responses. It's a bad intersection. It's a congested intersection. Safety concern is high. So there are a lot of similarity between all those recommendations we make. Take example for this location, right? The pavement marking, pavement condition, signage, and the anything like the display of the signal. Those type of things, we could further analyze. Maybe a warrant analysis or maybe a road safety audit. Those are the possibilities. So this location at the Home Depot Plaza entrance, like you said, there's no pavement marking, from northbound, and it's equipped with the span wire the signalization. The capacity is not quite a problem because there are multiple right out or left in driveways um, along the corridor, right? However, though, this location seemed to be a problematic in terms of the collision perspective. It the frequency meaning number of crashes for 5 years, right? It's number 2. So this location definitely worth to take a look and things that it can improve. The pedestrian, our team was out there, and we didn't feel safe by just standing on the sidewalk. So it's related to the speed. The drivers have multiple um, perceiving point. They probably it's hard for them to see the pedestrians at all. So I'm seeing the hands up or participant entering the room. So if Sean and Kyle continue managed, will be much appreciated. So Elm Street intersection, right? We're moving to the east. So this is a few hundred feet away from Home Depot entrance. So this location, it's really shown it's a problematic, not only the safety, but also the capacity, meaning how fast they can discharge the vehicles away from the intersection. So we mentioned about the lane job is a problem and the capacity of the signalization. So there are a couple of things we could do here, including the optimization, or adding the lane capacity. So if you add one more through lane, you might be able to accommodate another 1,000 vehicles. So make it easier to pass the intersection. Okay. So next intersection is at the Prospect Street, also a Jessamine Way intersection. The data shows the intersection actually operate level of service F, meaning like approximately each driver has to experience more than or equal to 2 minutes, approximately 2 minutes delay. So we were out there, we can see a long queue. So the number actually coincident with the field observation. So definitely things could be done better at this location. Like I said, in terms of adding the capacity, adding the lane capacity, pavement condition is poor on the east side of Prospect Street. So that's a opportunity for repaving, resurfacing, in combination with the intersection improvement. So this is gonna to take a little bit more because you're gonna have a land taking, moving the utility pole, adding that type of element to the intersection. Okay. So I appreciate, the survey, really tell a story. This is everybody think, this location has congestion problem, safety problem. All right. So Vernon Street, it's really to our surprise, but we are glad we include this location. Both of the congestion and safety are problematic. So as we were out there, we can see a lot of things we could do better in terms of the intersection design. Like how do we have a better angle into the intersection? How to improve the sight distance so you can see the upcoming vehicles. It's kind of not only one method can solve problem that we can say right now, like how do we improve the capacity so people can have a better gap out times, they can find a safe gap out of the intersection. How do we improve the crossing safety? Right now, that's only 2 white line for pedestrian crossing. It doesn't look adequate to us. Rapid flashing beacon can raise the awareness of drivers. Narrowing the lane, just make the pedestrian easier to cross Vernon Street. So next intersection, it's at the Center Street. I'm going to be quick, so I don't want to go over the time. So this location also presents similar things, about capacity and crossing safety for pedestrians as well. So I have a picture on the condition of a sidewalk to the east of the intersection between Center and Crescent. Crescent Street, it's a couple hundred feet east of Center, but they carry very similar characteristics in terms of capacity and safety. We do observe quite a lot of younger age students using the sidewalk and the crosswalk. That's kind of really driving the purpose of improving the safety for the younger pedestrians. South Street, it's it appear on our list a few times, right? Also top of the safety concern. I know that the town, correct me if I'm wrong, I know there's been discussion about improvement of South Street, at this location. Do you want to elaborate that, Shane?
I think this is an acknowledgement of improvements to be made at this location. I know that we recently, if you look outside, or have driven by, we've done some work down on South Street. But I can update people in terms of future work to be done at the South Street and Pleasant Street intersection and when the timeline is on that as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Shane. OCPC team would be happy to, take road safety audit so we can take a further look of the intersection and have the opportunity to involve, multiple agencies, to look at over. But our initial thoughts for this location, right? There's a high volume at this intersection. The stop control, it's no more effective because drivers just can't find a gap, making a left turn at this intersection. The curve, the really wide curve, if you can see on the picture, right, on the left-hand side, it's really wide. It doesn't really help slowing down the traffic. And its whole strategy things, like I mentioned before, like access, how do we design this intersection the way that drivers can intuitively slow down? So it takes a lot of countermeasure for improving the safety. So we like to see this location being, either signalization or a roundabout. Like I said, it's going to take a lot more land taking. So we cannot say it's warrant until engineering team to look this over, whether it's safe, any improvement can make this location safer. So we are just proposing from our experience, this type of location might be able to be considered roundabout or signalization, or maybe a four-way stop, but any kind of countermeasure, they all have pros and cons. Our job is to look at all of them and you make a decision, right? Which one will be more acceptable to the community, what would be the most beneficial for long-term operation. Okay, next one I'm going to be really short. So this location is at Bedford Street at School Street intersection. The collision ranking in terms of the frequency, it's really high within the 5 years. And this location is operate at a stop sign controlled. I know the signal on top looks like it's used for the emergency vehicle. And I don't know the town's opinion on this one. And from our Route 18 corridor study, we did kind of propose one of the alternatives is to make it fully signalization and also work with the curb radius, make it more manageable lane. So giving the driver more constraint of the movement they can make. Right now, it's just the driving lane is just way too wide from our this angle from our few observations. Okay. So this is at Main Street. I know this is probably, this very well. A lot of things coming into impacting the intersection. For our software, the computer actually does not give a really bad level of service, but I think operationally, this location has a lot of foot traffic and the skew angle and the really complex, like more downtown area. So actually it has more delay than the computer tells us. Also, the rail crossing, foot traffic, so kind of aggravate the operation at this location. As you can see on the picture, a lot of things could be done to improve the pedestrian walking experience. ADA compliance as well. So next one, this is at the railroad crossing. Our initial observation is the crosswalk. If you can see the sign there, and then you can see where the first white car stop, that's a crosswalk there. We do believe this location for pedestrian crossing is way close to the railroad line. So our initial thought is making that location further away from the railroad track and kind of consolidate with the crossing at the Hell Street. So that will help. We can put all our resource into one collected location, rapid flashing beacon. It just operate the way that will help improving the crossing safety. Right, that's all the highlights I have tonight. Like I said, we are taking questions, so it's a little bit challenging. So we're going to take questions from the online viewer, if you may allow. Kyle or Sean, could you manage this? And you can turn on your microphone.
Yep, no questions have come through in the chat just yet. I'm not seeing any from anywhere else. So if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Oh, I see Julia Blanchard has her hand raised. Please feel free to unmute your mic.
Okay, Julia, again, the chat is disabled.
Okay, thank you for letting me know that. I'll try to fix that.
Thank you, Julia.
All right. So I will give the microphone to the participant in the conference room.
Sure, if anyone wants a microphone, I'll pass it along. Sure, pass it along.
Say my name and address. Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. My first question is, you said there's a project website. What's the address so that we can look it up? You didn't have it up there. I don't know.
Yes.
How do we get that?
I'm going to show it on the screen.
Yeah, we can share it on the screen. I did during the meeting, I was multitasking, so I did email it to those who registered. But those who are participating here physically, I can email you. You know where to find me. So if you go to, the Old Colony Planning, Google Route 104 corridor study as well too.
Okay, right here.
I'll make sure you find it.
Can you see the screen? Yeah. So this is our general website. So we create link here. So Route 104 corridor study. So it's on our front page. So if you
Okay.
click it, and then we'll bring you to all the details.
Okay.
And for anyone on Zoom, I did put the link in the chat.
Thank you, Sean.
Please let me know if you're able to access it.
So
And
on the website, we kind of go over what the purpose of the study and
Go-Chung, it's a little hard to hear you. Are you next to the mic?
yeah, I'm trying to explain the website we have. So we have
Okay.
project timeline, our purpose, all those
okay.
information. We have the data. Like I said, we have the ATR. ATR means the volume, speed, and heavy vehicle percentage. And turning movement count means how many vehicle entering, exiting the intersection, right? Their movement. A lot of details into it. If I open one of them, it probably take a few minutes to load. So we also upload the previous meetings that we presented to JTC, MPO, and we also have coordination with the.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I just wanted the address.
Yep.
I just have not so much questions as comments. No matter what you do, you're not going to fix stupid drivers. You straighten out a road that Elm Street intersection was worse. That is an improvement than what it used to be, but you still have accidents. Like I said, and same with, it's amazing that there could be that many accidents where Home Depot is. It couldn't be more wide open, and there's signals and there's left lanes for left-hand turn. It's, again, drivers are being impatient. I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's so impatient. There is a problem with the going eastbound after Elm Street, that it goes to one lane. That happens everywhere. Look at 24 when there's 3 lanes, and then it goes to 2 after 495. It bottles up, and then everybody starts flowing. So fixing an intersection doesn't necessarily make it safer. The Elm Street one is better, but then people still crash. I do agree on crosswalks, and I had mentioned this. I don't understand. Every crosswalk is not painted the same. There's some that are just 2 parallel lines. Then there's some that I call railroad tracks. Those are the big fat line. Those bring your eye to a crosswalk when you're driving a lot better. And I think they all should be that way. In front of Hanson Farm, it's just 2 lanes. In front of Vernon Street, it's just 2 lanes. And in front of the police station, it's just, lanes, 2 lines. Why isn't that way? And then I see others that are diagonal. I don't know if there's a significance that some of them are diagonal and some of them don't even have the parallel lines. They just have the little stripes. So, but I do feel just the 2 skinny lines, parallel lines with nothing in between to the town, they need to all be the same. And I think those railroad track ones that I call railroad tracks, not the ones that are in front of the railroad tracks, that's a whole different thing, but the ones that look like a railroad track, thick lines, should be in every crosswalk. And the lines in town, I know it costs money, but they need to be painted more often. Driving at night, it's a hazard. They wear out. So once a year or whenever it is, they need to do them more often. So those are my comments. I do question some of the traffic thing, but I just don't, no matter what you do. And if you improve the road, you're going to make drivers go faster. Having a pothole makes them go slower. So not that we want potholes, but you know what I mean? If you make a road nice and smooth, off they go. So you have to do it, but it's the drivers. No matter what you do, it's going to be the drivers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just kind of an acknowledgement of that too. Roadway design and transportation engineering has kind of evolved where now we have these kind of visual cues. Now we used to have these signs with the little pedestrian on them. Now we have the rapid rectangular beacons. So now you can press them and now they're flashing them, because we're trying to gather that some drivers are having it. Sure. And there's differences between some of them where some of them are frequently flashing often, and there's some that have to be pushed. But there's also an acknowledgement that the pedestrian crossing needs to press the button, and there's an educational element.
Real quick, the one in the common, there's one in the middle of the common, in front of the Masons, that's always flashing. And if there was somebody crossing, you can't see them because there's not enough lighting, and that's distracting. It's better to not, so.
And I'll acknowledge too that a lot of street lighting is facing for the automobiles rather than the pedestrian experience on the sidewalk too. All right, any other questions?
Francis Jeffries, 35 Shaw Road. So I have a list of stuff. Let's see if I can remember it all. Some of these are ideas, so just kind of suspend evaluation on it and just take it as an idea. My first, and the one I say for 25 years now, is could we not cooperate with the university and use their bus system and contract with, let's say, Home Depot for some spaces in the, be that the southwest corner or the west corner. There's never anyone parked anyway, or use the MassDOT parking area. And related to that then, and pilot that for, let's say, 2 years. Give it 24 months, which if we started now, it's going to take us 24 months to enact anything on these other plans. So we have nothing to lose, and we might learn something. The second is back to Janet's comment and your very good and helpful analysis of the danger spots. Is there's no consequence. If I run through the crosswalk, too bad. If there are 3 people there, too bad. Put a camera on it, just like every other violation. They do it with tolls, like we can surely do it with lots of these key spots. I don't expect the police to be sitting there wasting time sitting. We can do it with cameras now. And I can guarantee you, once you start imposing fines, the pattern of accidents and things will change. What happens at Home Depot is that people run the light repeatedly to try to make it to the next light to try to be first into the merger. I can almost say that 100% of the accidents are that way. All right, that's enough for the bus thing, though. That's my bus argument. That's the cameras on all these key spots, and people will get it. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, I just got a fine because I didn't actually stop. I just slid through and squeezed out another car that was trying to cross." Then I totally agree with Janet on painting the crosswalks. We have many school-age pedestrians, including the university students. Another is to this is I have no idea whether this is feasible, but if you told me that coming inbound to work at Bridgewater State University or any other place, I'm coming across town in the morning, that inbound traffic, if I had to be if that was HOV for a couple of hours and I had to find another route, I would find someone to ride with me. There would be no more single passenger cars. And outbound, I think, is at 4:30-ish. That's the outbound, more westbound, same thing. And just, again, see what happens. I have and I don't know if that's feasible. I think there was one more thing. Anyway, I'll let it go for now, but those are my, I think what you've got are people who are thinking about this all the time, and I think we're only a tiny representation of people who think about ideas that may or may not work, but they don't know that they can actually put them into the mix with you guys. So again, thank you for your good work, though. Oh, I know what the other thing was. In your plans, are you factoring in the housing developments that are taking place and where those are taking place and what the traffic load will be relative to those?
So thank you for all your it's really helpful. I think you point out a lot of important things, the psychological about the driver behavior. Those are really important. That's part of the traffic engineering. They have to think over like what kind of engineering design will help people, the driving queue, like the design, the environment actually influence their driving behavior. That's awesome. Like Jenny mentioned about the lane jar problem. That's actually legitimate. That's what we're going to note in the study. So to answer your question, so for the future development, we will include them. For example, we use a 1% background increase for the entire corridor. And also we look at the specific project that we already know it's a plan, post, or to be built, like a Lakeshore Center, the Phase 4 project. We will add additional trip to our analysis, meaning that we're going to assess like what's the impact for adding those trips. Another project, it's at the Prospect Street, also Jessamine Way. There's a 40B residential and some commercial, and we get all the data from the town support. Thank you for giving us those numbers. We can put into our plan. Hey, this is what we are going to see when Horizon Year, when they open. This is going to be traffic. It's going to be very supportive to the recommendation, because when you have an increase of traffic, you're going to slow people down. You have more traffic incidents going to be introduced. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, and just kind of on the town side too, I completely agree with the bus question or the bus comment as well too. I know that BAT, which kind of runs the BSU service, has a couple stops that we're trying to get some improvements on. I think we're doing some improvements over near the Hooper Street area for some intersection work and get some rapid rectangular beacons over there. But more people on a bus, less single vehicles, less single trips, less traffic solves that problem. But it's the acknowledgement of having bad kind of spread their area. In terms of the transportation studies and transportation, so I on behalf of the town, I support the planning board. So all traffic studies in the 104 corridor that have been kind of in the last 5-10 years, we've kind of provided those traffic engineering reports over to OCPC. I know I got another one within the last month that I got to forward over to you guys, so we can put that as part of the discussion as well too.
Definitely, I want to re-echo what Shane said. It was wonderful partnership that we are the regional planning agency. We also advocate for those planning, like helping programming, like our TIP project manager Bill, it's online as well. We're working really hard, to finding out all type of opportunity, the funding opportunity, including Safe Street and Roads for All. I think recently we also been helping providing comment to the vulnerable user the bus stop design at the Hooper Street at Route 104. So we've been actively involved the process, helping include the study into all potential funding improvement opportunity with the state, ownership. Like I said, it's important. Town of Bridgewater has been really proactive in terms of improvement. So we are very fortunate to work together. This is analysis actually involve a lot of people's hard work. So I just can't emphasize enough. Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a few comments. One, I spoke to some of you before about, we live on Old Pleasant, right near the intersection, and the intersection fills up. And if they could do something about like signage that tells the cars not to fill the intersection, because it just ends up to be a bottleneck and nobody can move. Everybody is so afraid they're going to get stuck at the red light that they just fill the whole thing and nobody can move anywhere. We can't get into our street and nobody goes anywhere. So that's one of the big bottlenecks there. The other thing, I hate right turn on red. I think it causes more accidents because people don't only go when there's a big, huge gap. They say, oh, I can fit in here, and they squeeze in. And I think that's one. And please don't do a roundabout at the end. Everyone I see turns into a free-for-all and nobody knows where to go. Put a signal in there, put a four-way stop. I don't mind stopping at a light, but I don't want to fight my way into a roundabout. So please, no roundabouts.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Sure. Come and take it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I interrupted the meeting before the question and answer period. I do have some serious concern with the safety of our children at these intersections, particularly my intersection, which I'm very familiar with. I've seen tractor trailers move on a green light into the intersection, and then because of the intersection being blocked up to the intersection of Cumbies, the tractor trailer just and children try to cross in front of the tractor trailers, and it's just unsafe. Tractor trailer drivers can't see all the children. I know they can't. So that's one thing. The other thing is the development of the central fire station. It's one of the toughest spots. I don't know how they're going to exit the traffic concerns at these times today. It's going to be it's going to be difficult. But that's an open consideration as you can commission. And I know. Thank you.
Put cameras at those intersections.
Sure. I'll pass the mic to Janet. One more thing.
Hi, I noticed because of where I live on Pleasant Street, it's slow from the highway all the way to Cumberland Farms. Once they get past going east, once they get past Cumberland Farms, it's a free-for-all. I mean, they might have slow down for Vernon Street, but not really. They're going straight. And so it could take me 3 minutes. Sometimes it seems like 5 minutes to get out of my driveway to make a left-hand turn, even to make a right-hand turn. Left-hand turn brings me towards the center of town. Sometimes even my husband will take a right, take a left at Vernon, which is just down the street, to continue because we're getting tired of waiting to get out of our driveway. But it's because there's nothing stopping anybody. Not that I want to have the whole street stoplights as it is. There's 4 or 5 going all the way to in a short span. But there's nothing stopping anybody until they get to South Street or the police station. I don't know what can be done for that, but I don't want to see a light at North Street. I don't want that. But that's part of the problem. And everybody's coming from Rainham to go to the school, to the high school. No one takes buses anymore. And then coming back, it's the same. And everybody's coming off the highway to get to the college, university. So you got 106, and there's no alternative route for me. I mean, you have to go on 104. But I will say there's a lot more heavier trucks on 104 in the last few weeks. I noticed that maybe there's construction, but there are more and more big trucks on 104. There's not really much choice for them to drive, but that's part of the problem. So, but those are the things I noticed is that you've got people from Rainham to go to high school and you got people wanting to go to the college. There's nothing you can do about that. So I don't know what you can do, but I don't want to see it widen.
Thank you very much. We also had a comment online that I just want to acknowledge. Let me just, I think it was from James Walsh regarding, actually we have 2. So James had a question regarding recommended traffic calming measures, and he was curious what may be considered to slow down traffic and potentially transfer some road space to pedestrian and cyclist space. Did you reply online or? Oh, okay.
But just like you said, if we can take in some space from the driving lane, when still can maintain the drivable lanes. Like for example, in urban streets, some can go down to 10.5 feet. But we are not dedicating which portion should be. We're giving a general idea. Making some space from the vehicles used for the pedestrians, or maybe expand the sidewalk width. That could be possible, could make it to 10 feet for multi-use path. So that's definitely actually a good point. Where do we get the right of way? It's probably from the driving lane.
Yeah.
To maintain
Yeah, and this is one of the things I kind of joke about too, because you can kind of see the remnants of this through the MassWorks Elm Street project, where I kind of joked with OCPC earlier on that we have like the shortest bike lane ever on Route 104, where it kind of starts it starts before Old Pleasant Street, and then it ends probably 800 feet afterwards, and then you're just kind of on your own. So no acknowledgement of a bike lane there, but it's something that we do kind of acknowledge. But yeah, looking at it from a safety measure too, it would be wonderful to kind of utilize that corridor. Like I said previously, you eliminate that single vehicle traffic, but there's that sense of speed. There's that sense of how much space. I know that the newest guidelines from I think the state or DOT to give any bicyclist 4 feet of space. Is it 4 or 6 feet? 4 feet? 4 feet of space where there's concerns about if you have a bicyclist on one side, you're going into the other lane to kind of prevent that from occurring. So I know that from a safety standpoint, some people have some concerns. And just acknowledging Janet's comment too, in terms of space in between lights. You do have that light that kind of continues past Hanson Farm, and you don't have another light until pretty much Center Street. I also just kind of want to acknowledge the Plymouth Street side too, where you have a light right at the edge of the college, right before Waterford Village, and then you don't have a light any other point in town. So people are going the speed limit. No, they're going as fast as they possibly can down there, and it seems like a highway and kind of a no man's land over there as well too. And then we have a comment from Julia Blanchard. She has a concern about traveling west in the late afternoon. regarding solar glare, how it's awful and you can't see well. I don't think there's anything that be getting done with it, but just putting it out there is an issue, which I completely agree. Um, some sunglasses don't necessarily work for everything, but yeah, it's acknowledging issues in terms of sunrise and sunset, sometimes in terms of west and east. Sean, you got something with your hand raised?
Yes, Pam Hasner put a message in the chat that ended up just going directly to me. She was curious, in the event of future improvements are made, how much, such as SUP, how much right of way would be affected generally?
Um, I may be able to answer this question. Pam, good to see you. And we have not looked into the taking the right of way for specific project. I think that's definitely something could be done in the future. But now our priority is to determine the strategy and also the general big items for improving the safety and congestion issues.
But if anyone else here has their hand raised, I think we had some really great questions. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Dyer. I'm a senior transportation planner. Just kind of keeping an eye on the chat. I think that there were some good questions out there in regards to when will the slide deck be available on the website. Go Chung, I think tomorrow morning they'll be
Yeah.
posted.
If you want, we can post it tonight.
Okay.
I can ask our webmaster.
I do have the slides saved as a PDF if you would like me to post it in the chat.
Yeah, that'd be great for right now, Sean. And then
Okay.
for the general public, I think posting it on the website
File
would be
might be
great.
a little bit too big in terms of size, but you can give it a try. You can reduce the size.
And then another question was, when would the draft report or the final report be available to the public?
So we are going to process all the comments that we receive, from the point of time of now, and then we should be releasing it in next weeks, a few weeks at the most.
And that will be available on the website.
Yeah, we will publish it, and we will send it to all our regional partners, stakeholders for review. We're going to receive a lot of comments, and then you will all have an opportunity to review the draft report. We'll post it online as soon as possible.
Great. And then lastly, Go Chung, if someone has a question or a thought after tonight's meeting, is there a way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, definitely. So I want everybody to understand this is a process, okay? Until we construct something, until we implement something, this is a process that need everybody's effort. If we keep pushing it and with all our ability, the more, chances gonna succeed. So this, like I said, you can contact us, contact me or Shane on behalf of the town, you can do that too. So like I said, for this particular project, I'm happy to take any further questions. So my email address is provided on the screen. So you feel free to email me with your comments or any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, and just my comment on that, the longer you guys keep me around, the longer you can keep me honest to make sure some of these improvements take place. So that's my comment on that, as well as I can provide my email as well too, being on the town side. If there's anything outside the realm of 104 corridors, I know there was some concerns about heavy truck traffic and traffic outside of 104. That's something that we can acknowledge, as well as have conversations with OCPC in terms of future traffic studies and other future studies within the area, because we do acknowledge that there is truck traffic that skips through Bedford Street, goes down Vernon Street, and it causes issues for neighboring communities, because you guys as residents have to deal with kind of the issues that kind of 104 and Route 18 can't necessarily come by. And nowadays too, people are utilizing GPS measures through Waze or Google Maps, and it's not necessarily the north, south, west, east corridors. It's how quickly can I get from point A to point B without having to deal with, whatever. So I just want to thank everyone for their time as well too. Like, we have our contacts here. We have some cards. I have your emails, took a picture so I can follow up with the website information. But I just want to thank everyone for their time. Thank you for being here. And we hope to have some good information for you all soon. So thank you.
thank you all for your participation. It's a great turnout. Thank you.
All righty.